Welcome to the final episode of our BPC-157 series. Over the last 4 episodes, we traced the peptide's origins, dug through the animal and lab data, followed the emerging ideas about the gut-brain axis, and flagged the thorny issues around regulation and the booming gray market. We separated science from speculation where we could, and we followed evidence rather than enthusiasm. Now we come to the single most consequential question: what happens next? That answer won't come from forum threads, social media testimonials, or confident amateur protocols. It will come from clinical trials, rigorous human studies designed to test whether BPC-157 is more than an interesting molecule in a lab. If BPC-157 is ever going to graduate from biohacking buzzword to genuine medicine, researchers must answer a clear set of practical, clinical, and regulatory questions. 1. What condition should it treat? This matters more than it sounds. Medicine doesn't approve a drug to heal in the abstract. It approves treatments for specific conditions with defined endpoints. Is BPC-157 best evaluated in inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, in reflux or stress-related gastric injury, in tendon or muscle repair, in peripheral nerve injury, or in something like substance use disorders? Each indication implies different patient populations, trial designs, outcomes, timelines, and safety concerns. For inflammatory bowel disease, regulatory agencies want objective endpoints such as endoscopic healing, histologic remission, and validated symptom scores. For tendon or muscle injuries, trials need imaging, MRI or ultrasound, functional performance measures, pain scales, and clearly defined return-to-activity metrics. Choosing the right clinical target is the first essential step. 2. What route of administration is appropriate? How a drug is given changes everything. Local versus systemic exposure, dosing frequency, safety profile, and manufacturing requirements. Oral delivery faces digestion and first-pass metabolism. Rectal or topical routes may be appropriate for localized gut disease. Local injections might be the right approach for tendon or muscle injuries. Systemic administration raises whole-body safety questions. Each route will change the expected mechanisms, the kinds of adverse effects to monitor, and the regulatory pathway. 3. Does it work in humans? This is the heart of the matter. Human trials should ask, does BPC-157 improve patient-centered outcomes, symptoms, function, quality of life? Does it produce objective biological or imaging changes? Does it beat placebo? And does it add value over existing therapies? Proper randomized controlled trials with adequate sample size, blinding, pre-specified endpoints, and appropriate comparators are the only way to know. Early phase studies, phase 1 TEF, should establish dosing and initial signals of efficacy. Larger phase 3 trials are needed to confirm benefit. 4. Is it safe? Safety must be established across short-term and long-term horizons, in different age groups, and in people with comorbidities. Important safety questions include immune reactions to the peptide, off-target signaling effects, interactions with other drugs, and theoretical risks such as unwanted tissue growth or impacts on cancer biology. Trials also need standardized monitoring for cardiovascular, metabolic, psychiatric, and autoimmune signals. Safety cannot be inferred simply because a compound is small or peptide-based. The body's signaling systems are powerful, and unintended effects can be serious. 5. Can it be manufactured reliably? Turning a peptide sequence into a medicine requires consistent, high-quality manufacturing, good manufacturing practice, GMP facilities, validated synthesis, rigorous purity testing, HPLC, mass spectrometry, sterility and endotoxin testing for injectables, and stability data to support shelf life and storage conditions. Gray market products often fail on these dimensions. Inconsistent dosing, contamination, and mislabeling are common problems. Reliable production is non-negotiable if a product is to be used widely and safely. Where might BPC-157 realistically find traction? The gut remains the most plausible early target since the peptide emerged from gastric protection studies. Inflammatory bowel disease and localized gut injuries are logical places for carefully controlled trials. Sports medicine is another possible area, but it comes with complications. Athlete safety, robust objective endpoints, and anti-doping rules. Many sports regulators prohibit unapproved peptides. Neurologic or addiction-related applications are more speculative and would require a much larger preclinical and clinical evidence base. What should the public do now? Be curious, but be cautious. Understand that BPC-157 is not an approved therapy. Animal and cell studies are hypotheses, not prescriptions. Gray market products may be mislabeled, contaminated, or inconsistent. Athletes should be mindful of anti-doping consequences. And remember, natural repair does not automatically equal safe or effective. The most dependable investments in health remain proven fundamentals: sleep, nutrition, adequate protein, strength and conditioning, sensible recovery, stress management, and metabolic health. Peptides may become powerful tools in medicine, some already are. But every tool requires validation, manufacturing standards, trained judgment, and long-term safety data. Where does BPC-157 stand today? Promising where preclinical data are strongest. Interesting mechanistically. Scientifically worthy of further clinical research. Clinically unproven for routine use. Unapproved and overmarketed in many corners of the internet. This is not anti-peptide rhetoric. It is pro-science. The future of peptide medicine could be extraordinary. But that future must be built on carefully collected evidence, transparent trials, and responsible manufacturing and regulation. A scalpel in a surgeon's hand saves lives. In the wrong hands, it can harm. Biology is no different. Power requires precision. I'm Dr. Yende. Thank you for joining this 5-part Oxyzen Health Intelligence series on BPC-157. Remember, the most important question in health is not what is new. It is what is true. I'll see you in the next episode.